faith, because we are talking about faith, faith must be manifested. Faith must be manifested. I want us to go to the book of James. The book of James, and I'm going to go to chapter 2. Okay? Where it talks about faith. It says, verse 14, "What good is it, my brothers, if a man claims to have faith but has no deeds?" If I claim to have faith, it will show. It will show through the deeds. It will show through the deeds. Verse 17 says, "In the same way, faith by itself, if not accompanied by action, is dead." As I'm hearing that Rhema word, I must obey it. When it is speaking to my situation, God is telling me, do A, B, C, D. I must now manifest that faith by doing what God has asked me to do. Faith by itself, if not accompanied by action, is dead. Is dead. Verse 18, let me read it. "But someone will say, 'You have faith and I have deeds. Show me your faith without deeds, and I will show you my faith by what I do.' How did Abraham show his faith? By what he did. That is what shows us that he had faith. In verse 20, it says, 'You foolish man, do you want evidence that faith without deeds is useless?'" If I just am, praise the Lord, God has spoken to me today, I got a Rhema word, what are you going to do about that Rhema word? It is useless if you're not going to do anything about it. That is why it says here that faith without deeds is useless. Then it goes on to bring Abraham as an example, verse 21. "Was not our ancestor Abraham considered righteous for what he did when he offered his son Isaac on the altar?" If he had just said he just had faith, but he didn't go take Isaac to Mount Moriah, did it make sense? Would it make sense? To be useless faith. Faith, he showed faith when he took Isaac to Mount Moriah and when he was ready to kill Isaac. When he was ready to kill Isaac. And he says, you see that his faith, verse 22, and his actions were working together. So our faith must work together with our actions. And his faith was made complete by what he did. His faith was made complete by what he did. I can say, I believe that this child who has never walked can walk. And then I walk away and go home. Should I be praised for believing that that child can stand up and walk? But what will I be praised for? If that faith, I believe this child can walk, and I take this child by the hands and we walk. That is now where faith and works are working together. So verse 24 says, you see that a person is justified by what he does and not by faith alone. A person is justified by what he does and not by faith alone. And that is where our problems are. That's why we are told, fight the good fight of faith. It's not easy to have faith. And we say we have faith, and we say it from morning up till evening. But will I do something to prove that I believe? That is where the rubber meets the road. God has told me, I am your provider. Okay, I believe it. But when I look at your life, what are the things I can see that you do in your life that prove that you believe that God is your provider? So if you're constantly coming to borrow money from me, and yet you're telling me, I believe God is my provider, I become that provider, isn't it? God is my provider. And so when I see that you are constant, you don't worry, you are always, confident that God is going to provide for you, I can see it in your life. What you say you believe, I will see whether you believe or not. Verse 26 says, as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without deeds is dead. Can you imagine? The same way that dead person in that coffin says, if your faith has got no deeds, that dead person cannot do a thing. Nothing. And he says that is the same way. If you say you have faith but there are no deeds, you are nothing like that person. Okay?